Hi, welcome to Manas Shield YouTube channel. Before we start, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Let's start the video. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'll link it in the description box, or you can click here. Chapter 1. Walpurgis. Rimuru sent his subordinates. Now that the Iber matter was settled, I returned to the main topic. There have been too many detours. How difficult. Ugh, this meeting is not moving forward at all. No one's hiding any more secrets, are they? I couldn't help but complain, at which point everyone all rushed in. You have no right to say that. That's fair. I'm the one who seems to have the most secrets, so that statement was a mistake. While reflecting on that, I turned my attention to the meeting. For now, Rimuru was in charge. Anyway, we don't know each other well, so we can't cooperate. So, I will summarize the situation. She begins by listing the enemy forces. Leading the enemy forces is Michael. Under his control is the Frost Dragon, Belzard. Then there's Phantom King Feldway. Under his command is Zelario of the 3 Phantom Commanders. Then the Insector that Zelario was monitoring, and also their ruler, Insect Lord Zelanus. Zelanus might have his own subordinates, but since Iber doesn't know much about them, it remains unclear. To be honest, this is the force that I was most worried about. After all of the Insector Magians I know are extremely powerful. Zijin and Apito's side, there was also Razzle, the guardian god of the west, and Minaza, the 6th-rank single digit that Xion had defeated. Zelanus himself seemed to be dangerous, but he also seemed to have strong subordinates, so we had to be careful. Then there's the Dino, Pico, and Gracia trio. The fact that he, Dino, is an awakened demon lord is troubling enough, but we don't even know if he has an ultimate skill. It would not be surprising if he possessed one, so it would be better to estimate his strength on the assumption that he does. And finally, an undead elf with an angel incarnating its body that could rival us. That's tricky. I'd feel a little better if I at least knew how many of them there were. That's extravagant. It's lucky that we've even found out this much. We should be thinking of countermeasures. Rumina's rebuked Agriel for his complaint. Do we have an idea on who should deal with whom? It was Leon who said that. It might be a waste of time to decide, but it is not meaningless. Well, at the very least, it would be best if Leon didn't have to deal with Michael. I agreed with Daggerul. That should absolutely not happen, as it would only lead to manipulation. Rather, we should cooperate with each other as much as possible to prevent such a situation. I was concerned about the possibility that not only Michael, but also Feldway had the ability to control him, but after gathering various information, I found out how the skill worked to some extent. Listen, Michael's power is transferable, and it seems like he can give control to a certain level. That's why I think we need to keep Leon away from Feldway as well as Michael. Just like with Lieutenant Kondu, Feldway should be considered to already have borrowed Michael's skill. It's annoying. If they take control of Leon as well, then the disparity between our forces will become even greater. While I listened to Rumina's muttering, I remembered something else that I had forgotten to mention. Oh yeah, Leon wasn't the only one in danger. What do you mean by that? Well, as I said, Bildora fell under the enemy's control during the battle the other day. I've been curious about that story. You should tell us more in detail. Rumina's listened back with a stunned look on her face. That's why I explained that Michael had the power of absolute control called the Regalia Dominion. As for Chloe, she had already dealt with herself, so I'll put her on hold. If things got really bad, Seal-san would have intervened forcibly, so I believe it's safe to leave her to her own devices. Thus, I explained about Vildora's situation. Rimuru-kun. You were the one who asked if anyone had any more secrets, weren't you? Oh crap. No, did I say that? You said it. You did say it. You did. You definitely said it. There was no one on my side. I desperately tried explaining that it wasn't a secret or anything exaggerated. I just forgot to say it, but no one was convinced. You already knew, Ramurses, I thought to myself, but pointing that out would not improve my situation. Knowing this, I gave up and said I was sorry. The other demon lords were getting irritated, so it was harder than I expected to deal with the situation. Anyway, I was finally able to get back to the main topic, but the situation really was pretty bad when I thought about it. If our strength was ever reduced, then the enemy's strength would also increase. It was like a shogi game, where only one of the sides had the ability to reuse pieces, which was a condition that made it hard to imagine winning. It's my fault that I forgot to explain it, but I'm sure that it's not an easy story for people to hear. So, there's no one here who is being controlled by the Regalia Dominion. It's okay. The control of one with an angelic skill doesn't seem to have any subjective symptoms, but in the case of regalia dominion, it is a forced dominion, so the ego disappears, and the reaction is unnatural. In any case, since Valdor and I were connected by a soul corridor, he told me himself that he had been taken over. I see. In that case, how did you free Valdor? That's this question again. I ate him, and Seal-san did a skill alteration. But I didn't want to be foolish, and explain it that way. They wouldn't believe me anyway, so I had no choice but to fake it. It's just like with Elgren-san. In the heat of battle, Valdor evolved his own powers. I guess it was the triumph of the trust between us. Their gazes were painful. I'm aware that they're looking at me very suspiciously, but I have no choice but to push through with this explanation. Hey, I fought Velzard pretty seriously too, but she didn't show any signs of evolving her skills, you know. Well, I suppose there will be individual differences. I'm saying this myself, but it's an impossible explanation to believe. Individual differences, huh? Is it no use? They're getting suspicious. What should I do? Even if they wouldn't believe me, I could just tell them the truth. But if I did that, in addition to forcing you to deal with all those who are under control, they will dig deeper into the master's skills. Just as I thought. In the first place, it's impossible for me to explain how it works, because Seal-san was the one who did it, not me. I guess the right answer is to keep quiet after all. That's enough. You don't seem to want to talk anyway, and you've probably done something out of the ordinary. If you can tell when someone is under control, then the regalia dominion is no more of a threat than the ultimate dominion. The question is, how do we deal with them? Rumina's decided that it was overall better that we were able to recognize the difference. She then said that we should discuss how to deal with Michael and the others. I nodded my head in agreement. Rather than deciding on who should deal with whom, isn't it better to decide on how to move when they attack? Guy nodded at my words. I agree. The enemy isn't stupid, so I don't think they'll try to spread out their forces. If the size of the enemy is too large, or if an opponent you're not good with is attacking you, it is important to immediately call for help. However, there was a problem with this. That's true, but we're pretty spread out, aren't we? Or should we all gather in one place, ready for the enemy to come at any moment? I don't think so. Right. Guy seemed convinced by my explanation. As for me, I'm going to defend my country. Leon and Hermines, also Daggerel and Milam will not want to leave their countries either. Milam's case is questionable, but there is no doubt about the others. In that case, we should be ready to send reinforcements as soon as any part of the country is attacked. Yes, indeed. I have a duty to defend my country. In the worst case, we should consider abandoning our territory, but that should be a last resort. Yes, I agree. And do not worry. If Hermines gives up her territory, I will take it without reservation. Don't be ridiculous. I'm not going to give it to you, so don't get greedy. There was Daggerel, who wanted to seize the territory whenever he could, and Hermines, who wanted to prevent it. That's why there were demon lords who could not leave their territories. What about Guy? Ramrus is in my country, so it doesn't matter, but you have no reason to defend this place, do you? I don't. I'm worried about Leon, so I think I'll go visit him there. Leon looked reluctant, but it was good. Leon is the one I was worried about the most, and he also hadn't been completely cleared of suspicion yet. That's why I was going to keep an eye on him, so Guy's decision was reasonable. If that was the case, then I guess I didn't need to monitor him anymore. Rimuru, you can afford it. Send some of your subordinates to Hermines, Daggerel, Milam, and Leon. What? Huh? Guy's sudden request left me in a state of deep confusion. As it turned out, I couldn't refuse. I resisted for a long time, but Guy refused to listen to me. What's more, he wanted me to set up a magic transfer circle, so that he could go to and from each territory immediately. It made me want to shout, I'm not your subordinate. There was one reason why I didn't. The long and the short of it was that I just gave in to Guy. Because Guy, with his serious atmosphere, was so intimidating that it was a kind of difficult to go against. I could probably do it if I pushed myself, but I would feel more comfortable by just giving in. Unless it was absolutely necessary, it was an unavoidable measure to follow. But then, who would be the right people to send, and to where? Someone who was good at teleportation and telepathy net from any location, was strong enough to endure on their own, even if something happened, and was strong enough to resist domination. In that case, the 3 demon girls would be perfect for the job. However, Tensura has been entrusted with the task of coordinating the affairs around the Empire, so I don't think I can appoint her this time. Carrera and Ultima would be the main candidates. After that, there would be some of the executives. First, Gel for Milam. We need to get construction going again, and they know each other, so it will be accepted. He is well liked by everyone. Oh, by the way, Midley wanted to meet with Gabble as well. He said he'd like to train with him again. I see, that's a good idea. I had left Gabble's training to Ultima, but it had only been a few days, and he was already looking at me, as if about to cry. I might be able to send him over for a break. In that case, Ultima would be a part of the package, and since we're still in wartime, there was no need for the police. I could call them back immediately if necessary, so I think it would be okay to make the decision. Okay. Then I'll send Geld, Gabel, and Ultima to Milim's territory. Sure, I'm looking forward to it. With this, Milim's country was all set. Next is Rumina's in the Holy Empire of Riberios. For Rumina's, do you have any requests on who to send? I'm getting smarter. She would be furious if I said that I would send Vildor, so I figured I'd better ask her before I stepped on a landmine. You're right, Rumina's thought about it. I was right to ask the question. After a pause, Rumina's opened her mouth. I like Xian, who you brought with you today. She has visited my country before, so I know her well. Rumina's had been raving about Xian's violin. It was no surprise that she remembered. Then I'll send Xian. I'll also send Adalman and his retinue with you. Adalman was also acquainted with Rumina's. There seemed to have been a falling out with the 7 celestial saints, but that was in the past now, so they should be fine. Since he's caused me so much trouble, it might be fun to give him some guidance myself. I'll accept, thank you. Roger that. With this, Rumina's country was also all set. So, who will you send to my country? Well, I don't know anyone, so it can be anyone. That's right. Well, if anyone is okay, I'll send Carrere. Carrere? Yeah. Speaking of the yellow primordial, eh? The yellow primordial. Daggerel shouted with a very disgusted look on his face. No way, you don't tell me you've managed to tame that one. Not really taming, or rather, it just kind of happened, Daggerel, just accept it. I understand where you're coming from, but this is not the time to talk about it. By the way, Ultima is the viola primordial. I was also astounded, so I understand how you feel. I had heard that Ultima's territory overlapped with Rumina's and Daggerel's, so they must have known about each other for a long time. Hearing Rumina's comment, Daggerel was shocked and shouted in surprise. I'm stunned too. Besides, it's not just Yellow Primordial and Viola Primordial. You should know by now that it's a little too late to be discussing Rimuru's lack of common sense. They really just said whatever they wanted. Milim is nodding her head in agreement, but the truth is that she's probably on my side. Well, whatever. So then, Carrere will go to Daggerel, okay. Wait, hold on a minute. Daggerel stood up from his seat, shouting loudly. It looked like he was dancing with his arms outstretched, but perhaps this was his refusal stance. Objection. I think I also have the right to refuse. The expression on his face was very desperate, showing his determination not to step back. In contrast, Leon was smiling very calmly. It was as if he was saying, I'm glad Carrere didn't go to me. Listen, Rimuru. If you send that ruffian to me, my Damergania will be destroyed. I don't need much, but can you at least choose someone with a gentler personality? Character is more important than strength, Daggerel complained. Even if you say that, so many of my subordinates are troublemakers. I asked him about the situation in detail. It seems that Daggerel's country is a decaying sanctuary called the Holy Void Damergania. It is a country with few resources, and many of its buildings have been swallowed by the sand and are in ruins. And Daggerel's image of Carrere was the worst of all, a vandal who enjoys shooting out nuclear magic as a hobby. Daggerel's perception of Carrere is that she is worse than Milim's second epithet, the Destroyer. She's not that bad, she is. I agree with Daggerel's words. I've been on the receiving end of her on a daily basis, so I can only imagine how you must feel. Daggerel asserted forcefully, even as I tried to deny it. In addition, even the taciturn Leon spoke eloquently of Carrere's many wrongdoings. I have no choice but to believe what they say. So, in that case, I think Carrere should go to Leon. They seem to know each other, and Guy will also be at Leon's place. I thought it was a good idea, because Carrere would not be able to do anything too crazy. But then, stop messing around. Were you even listening to me? I absolutely refuse. That demon is the only one I'll never let set foot in my country. Daggerel smiled, but Leon refused. The tone of his voice changed from I to me in a fit of rage, and he seemed to be completely out of control. It was funny, so I was determined to send Carrere to him. However, it was Guy who put a stop to that. Rimuru, you can't send Carrere. Why not? She tries to fight me all the time, and when she thinks she's going to lose, she just throws the match and runs away, you know. This battle is not a game. I don't want to waste my energy. You understand? It was a good point. And Guy's eyes were serious, as evidenced by the unprecedented intensity in his voice. If Carrere is absolutely obedient to your orders and you'll take responsibility for anything that happens, I'll consider it. But that's impossible, right? Well, I'm not so sure about that. I'd be able to stop her, if I was around, but I don't know what Carrere would do, if I took my eyes off her. That's right. Carrere-chan is the one who's trying to make the game, of how many levels can you break through, popular in my labyrinth. It's really annoying, so I want you to stop it. Such violence, as expected, it seems that some damage has been done without my knowledge. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it.